Alright, fine. So how a file will be uploaded into the cluster environment, how it will be retrieved back, how the daemons communicate with each other, and some case studies. I'll talk about only the theoretical part till fifth hour of our journey. On the fifth day, I'll be talking about the cluster installation, where the very first day we'll be building a cloud, Apache Hadoop open source cluster, a single node cluster. So we'll build a single node cluster on the very fifth day. As a first cluster, we'll be just building a single node machine where all the daemons will be running on that. It's a standalone single machine. This is that cluster. And I'll be talking about several examples. Like initially I'll start the journey with the sample word count example, the very basic example. And then I'll talk about generating recommendations through MapReduce, where I'll be talking about processing the URLs and generating a recommendation for the e-commerce site. And then this is the dataset confined to the scene. And then I'll talk about, once after this was completed, I'll talk about processing a directory through MapReduce, where you can find a directory comprising of 43 files, 43 text files. Indeed, making an effective search of a directory through MapReduce. And then I'll talk about processing log files. These are all the access log files of a web server, so I'll just talk about that level. Where here you can see the access log files. Here. So these are all the access log files of a web server, where we'll be processing this to know the average load on a web server during a period of time. So these are all the web server access log files which we're going to process through MapReduce. And once after that was complete, I'll be talking about image counters in MapReduce using counters, and then I'll talk about MR unit test cases in test environment. So it will consume only exclusively on top of MapReduce. It will consume around 12 to 15 days of entire journey to complete MapReduce. And once after the MapReduce tasks were finished, we'll switch on to Hive, where at the range of Hive level, I'll talk about different compression codecs, ZZip compression, and the latest compression codec which was introduced hardly 1.5 months ago, the Paraquet compression formats. And then I'll talk about processing the JSON datasets on top of Hive, where you see the JSON datasets. Yeah, here are the JSON datasets. So processing the JSON datasets through Hive. We should even talk about these, how to make it through Hive. And once after this was complete, here you can see, let me make my cluster. So this is the compression codec. I just compressed the data, and this is the output of it. We shall see how to perform even these sort of things on top of Hive, where actual size of the file will be 750, and we just compressed it up almost to 55 KB, a drastical compression. We should even talk about this. And once after this was complete, the journey on Hive, then we'll talk about Pig, where at the Pig level, we'll process several e-commerce sort of data sets, making the Pig scripts, and then performing the actions. And once after Pig was complete, we'll be talking about Scoop, where importing the data from MySQL, because we can establish only a MySQL database on top of this single node cluster. We'll be establishing that, and we'll be ingesting the data from the MySQL database to HDFS as a single import. We will be talking about incremental imports, where we can talk about incremental append and incremental last modified imports. We can even see how to just import directly to HBase and directly to Hive, and several actions on top of Scoop. Once after Scoop was complete, then we'll talk about HBase, the NoSQL database, where initially we'll talk about creating a table, uploading the files, and then at the advanced level I'll talk about how to access HBase through the Java APIs, where here you can see that getting connected to the HBase and ingesting the rows to the HBase using the Java API. And then I'll talk about how to use bulk load in HBase. And then we'll talk about the Uzi, making the things practical. At that level, before talking about Uzi, we'll switch on to the Cloudera cluster. So here you can see the Cloudera machine, the exact, almost you can find the entrepreneur standards in making the cluster. I think it's a bit slow, just give me a moment. So it's just restoring the virtual machine back. Where once after this cluster was built, the Cloudera's cluster, we'll be talking about Uzi, designing a workflow engine, designing workflow and triggering that workflow. And even let's say that your cluster is somewhere in Australia, so you need to access it. So we shall talk about even making the PuTTY access towards the cluster, PuTTY interfaces. And then I'll talk about making the things through your PuTTY shell. Just a minute, let me open that PuTTY. And here you can see that. Then my Cloudera's machine, queue level accessibility. Where you can see all the services running on, and this is the hue for Uzi, where we designed a workflow. we got the things, and we successfully triggered it even. And this is the high Michelin Q, Pig, Impala. We'll talk about all these ecosystem components. And then we'll be talking about the interaction of Cassandra and MongoDB, where you can find the things in a clear way in the course curriculum. Each and every topic will be discussed in a detailed way, and only introduction will be provided for Cassandra and MongoDB. These are all the things what we're going to make. Right. I hope this is fine, Mr. Nagaraj. Do we require anything else? Because these are all the things what we're going to discuss. And even I'll show them the multi-node environment, a fully distributed environment, because we can just create n number of virtual machines over here. Since they will be in the NAT connectivity, we can even visualize a fully distributed mode of cluster on top of their machines.
Okay, so that's fine, Mikesh. So are you going to handle any project works with this course?
Sorry?
Are you going to be handle any project work?
Can you please repeat your question?
Yeah. So are you going to be handle any project work with this course? The project stuff.
Mr. Nagaraj?
Yes, yes.
Can you please repeat your statement? Hello?
Hello. Vignesh,
hello.
Copy properly? Do you copy me? Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So are you going to be handle any project work in this entire sessions?
In these entire sessions?
Yeah, after completion, of the course, so are you going to be handling any project work?
Providing the project work, actually I'm not making it, because at each and every step level I'll talk about the detailed discussion at various implementations of each and every ecosystem component. I'll delve deeper at each and every level. So that what I can do is I can provide a dump of resumes for them where they can pick up any project.
Okay.
And I'll share how to perform those projects, what are all the issues that will be arised in that, how to tune the performance, everything. I can share that, because I hope you know my profile. I'm the architect of IBM.
Yes, I know that.
I've been working with Cisco enough, so I can share what are all the frequent arised problems indulged in a specific project.
Okay, that sounds good. And